This is problem number 4 from section 3.1. It says, write the given expression in the form f of x equals, well, this is vertex form. So it's a parentheses x minus h squared plus k. Identify the vertex. Well, we know because this is vertex form that the vertex is going to be h and k, right? H comma k. In the previous problem, I showed you that there are two ways to find the vertex and write the standard quadratic into a vertex form quadratic. But I'm going to ignore the other way. So they're basically the two ways were completing the square and the vertex formula. I'm going to ignore the vertex formula for now, and I'm just going to focus on completing the square. So to complete the square, this problem is just slightly different, but not much. So we're going to start by write down complete the square. And we're going to start first off, because we have a leading coefficient, we're going to start by factoring this leading coefficient out. So we're going to say that we have f of x equals 4, and we're just going to look at these two terms. If I take a 4 out of this term and this term, I'm left with 4x squared minus 10x minus 3. That's the first thing I'm going to do, is just a little factoring there. And then I'm actually going to do the complete the square part. Except for now, I'm going to use 10 as my b, and my leading coefficient now is 1. The previous problem, we had a leading coefficient of 1, so we didn't have to do the factoring part first. But if you have a leading coefficient, I would suggest to factor out those two terms. So now we're going to say that negative b, so that's negative 10, we're going to write that up here, negative 10 over 2 times a, which is 1, and we're going to square it. When we square that, we get 10 over 2 squared, which gives you 5 squared, which is 25. Now I'm going to add 25 to each side because that's what it says to do. But I need to add the 25 inside the parentheses. So it changes things slightly. So I'm going to write f of x, and we'll leave a little space, right, equals 4x squared minus 10x plus 25 minus 3. Now the only thing it changes is I added 25 inside of parentheses, and those parentheses, the stuff on the inside, is being multiplied by 4. So I didn't just add 25 to the right side, I added 25 times 4, which is 100. That's the only difference here, is I'm adding it inside the parentheses. I have a multiplication that's out front. I have to actually multiply those because that's how much I technically added. So over here I'm going to say plus 100. X squared minus 10x plus 5, it factors down. So we have f of x plus 100 equals 4. This factors to x. The factors of 25 are 5, and we know minus 5 will add up to be negative 10. So this is x minus 5 squared. And then we have minus 3 here on the end. So this factors down to a perfect square, x minus 5 squared, which is the whole point behind completing the square. So we end up with that factor there. Last step is to take the 100 and add it to or subtract it from this side. So we get f of x equals 4x minus 5 squared minus 103. This is the vertex form for that quadratic. Our vertex then, because this is negative, I'm going to write positive here for the x value, and this is negative 103. And that's the vertex. So, we completed the square. The only difference here was we factored out the 4 first, right, from the original equation. Factor out the 4 first. And away we went.